The huge alien council room was filled with angry sounds. 12 different alien races sat in their special seats, all looking down at one human. Marcus Chen stood alone in the middle of the room. His old spacesuit had marks and scratches from many dangerous places he had been to. The aliens did not like humans. They made this very clear with their angry noises. The crystal aliens called Zephyrians made musical sounds that hurt to hear. The snake-like Vorthak moved around their seats in angry ways. Above them all sat the biggest alien, Thexalar. He looked like a giant bug with many eyes that shined like mirrors. Thexalar raised one of his sharp arms. All the noise stopped right away. His voice came through the speaking machine that turned alien words into human words. "Human Marcus Chen," he said in a voice that buzzed like angry bees. "Your people have broken our rules 17 times this year. You build homes on planets without asking. You take over space that is not yours. And worst of all, your people keep making friends with dangerous animals." Marcus stood up straighter. He was not afraid, even though he was the only human in a room full of aliens who wanted to hurt his people. "We call it making friends," Marcus said with a small smile. "Maybe you should try it sometime." The room exploded with angry sounds again. Every alien made their own type of angry noise. Some hissed like snakes. Others clicked like insects. Some made sounds that humans could not even hear. One alien was made of pure energy and glowed brighter when it got angry. The energy alien moved forward. Its voice sounded like electricity. "This human shows no respect. This proves that humans are too dangerous. They cannot be trusted. We say that this human must face the trial of Kethvar." When the energy alien said those words, every other alien in the room became quiet and scared. Even the rock aliens who never showed fear looked worried. Marcus did not know what the trial of Kethvar was, but he could tell it was very bad. An alien that lived in water and wore a special breathing mask spoke next. Her voice was soft and sad. "The beast world," she whispered. "Nothing lives on Kethvar. Even the super predators that we put there long ago cannot survive." Marcus felt his heart beat faster, but he did not let the alien see his fear. "And if I survive?" he asked. Thexalar made a sound like laughing, but it was not a happy sound. "Impossible," he said. "Nothing can survive on that world. But if you somehow come back alive, then humans will be full members of our council. Your people will have all the rights and protection that we give to other species." Marcus thought about this for a moment. If he said yes, he would probably die. But if he said no, the aliens would hurt all humans anyway. If he somehow lived, humans would be safe forever. He stuck out his hand toward the aliens. "Deal," he said. None of the aliens moved to shake his hand. They did not understand this human custom. Marcus put his hand down and smiled. "When do I leave?" The aliens looked at each other. They had expected the human to be scared or to beg for mercy. Instead, he was ready to go to the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. Thexalar clicked his mandibles together. "Your ship leaves in 1 hour. You will have basic survival gear and 30 days to prove that humans deserve to live." Marcus nodded. "What about food and water?" "You will find what you need on Kethvar," the energy alien said. "Or you will die trying." "Fair enough," Marcus said. He turned to leave, then stopped and looked back at the council. "You know, where I come from, we have a saying. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Just something to think about." As Marcus walked out of the council room, the aliens watched him go. Some of them were already planning what they would do with Earth once the human was dead. Others wondered if they had made a mistake. Humans were known for being unpredictable, but no one had ever survived Kethvar, not even the deadly creatures they had created. Thexalar watched the doors close behind the human. "Begin monitoring Kethvar," he ordered his assistants. "I want to see exactly how this human dies. It will be good evidence to show other species what happens when they disobey the council." But deep inside, Thexalar felt something he had not felt in a long time. Doubt. Humans had surprised the galaxy before. They had survived things that should have killed them. They had made friends with creatures that should have eaten them. Maybe, just maybe, this human might surprise them all again. The transport ship was small and uncomfortable. Marcus sat alone as it flew toward Kethvar. He used the time to read everything he could about the planet. The information was scary. The planet had deadly storms that never stopped. The air was poison. The ground was covered with acid that could eat through metal. And somewhere on that world lived the most dangerous creatures the aliens had ever created. Marcus closed his eyes and thought about Earth. He thought about his family and friends. He thought about all the humans who were counting on him. He would not let them down. Even if it killed him, he would find a way to survive 30 days on Kethvar. The ship's computer announced that they were getting close to the planet. Marcus could see it through the window. It looked like a ball of black clouds with flashes of red lightning. He put on his survival suit and checked his equipment one more time. "Dropping in 5 minutes," the alien pilot said through the speaker. The pilot was scared to get too close to the planet. Even the transport ship might not survive if it stayed too long. Marcus climbed into the small escape pod that would take him to the surface. He had done this many times before on other dangerous worlds, but never anywhere like Kethvar. As the pod launched toward the planet, Marcus spoke into his recorder. "This is Marcus Chen, human representative beginning the trial of Kethvar. If anyone finds this recording and I don't make it, tell my family I love them, and tell the rest of humanity to never give up. We're tougher than these aliens think." The pod hit the atmosphere of Kethvar like a missile. Lightning struck it again and again. Acid rain pounded against the metal shell. Through the small window, Marcus could see the surface getting closer. It looked like hell itself was waiting for him. The pod crashed into the ground hard enough to knock Marcus unconscious. When he woke up, acid rain was already eating small holes in the pod's hull. He had to get out fast or the acid would get inside. Marcus grabbed his gear and opened the hatch. The moment he stepped outside, Marcus knew why the aliens had been so confident. This was not just a dangerous planet. This was a world designed to kill everything that lived on it. But Marcus was human, and humans did not give up easily. "Day 1, he said into his recorder as he looked for shelter. "It's like someone took a nightmare and made it into a planet. But I've seen worse places. Well, maybe not worse, but definitely uglier." As Marcus walked across the deadly landscape of Kethvar, something watched him from the shadows. Something big and dangerous and very, very hungry. Marcus had been on many dangerous planets before, but Kethvar was different. Everything on this world wanted to kill him. The air itself was poison that made his breathing mask work extra hard. The ground was covered with sharp crystals that could cut through his boots. And the rain was acid that could eat through metal in minutes. The first day was the worst. Marcus had to find shelter before the acid rain melted his suit. He found a small cave between some twisted metal trees. The trees looked like they were made of silver, but they were actually some kind of alien plant that grew metal instead of wood. When the wind blew through them, they made sounds like screaming. Marcus set up his small camp inside the cave. He had food and water for 30 days, but only if he was very careful. The aliens had not given him much. They expected him to die quickly. As he ate his first meal, Marcus recorded his thoughts. "Day 1 on Kethvar," he spoke into his recorder. "The good news is that I found shelter. The bad news is that everything else on this planet is trying to kill me. The trees scream, the rain melts things, and I'm pretty sure something big is watching me from outside." Marcus was right about being watched. From the moment his pod had crashed, sensors all over the planet had detected his presence. Deep underground in hidden rooms that the aliens had built long ago, computers were tracking his every move. And in the dark places of Kethvar, something had taken notice of the new arrival. The first week was about learning how to stay alive. Marcus discovered that the metal trees would curl up their branches before releasing clouds of poison gas. When he saw the branches move, he would hold his breath and run. He learned that the ground would shake before the acid worms came up to the surface. When he felt the shaking, he would jump to higher ground. The electromagnetic storms were the worst. They came without warning and could destroy any electronic equipment that was not protected. Marcus had to hide his gear in a special metal box whenever the storms came. During the storms, the sky would turn purple and lightning would strike the ground hundreds of times per minute. But Marcus was a survivor. He had been in the military and had trained for dangerous situations. He knew how to find food and water in places where nothing should be able to live. He built traps to catch small creatures that he could eat. He found ways to collect clean water from the acid rain by filtering it through special materials. On the 8th day, Marcus was checking his traps when he felt eyes watching him. He turned around slowly and his blood turned to ice. Standing 50 feet away was the biggest, most dangerous-looking creature he had ever seen. The creature was 12 feet tall and covered in black armor that looked like it was made of metal and bone at the same time. It had 6 eyes that glowed red in the dark. Long tentacles with sharp points grew from its back like deadly arms. Its claws were bigger than Marcus's hands and looked like they could cut through steel. Marcus knew immediately what this creature was. The aliens had told him about the apex predators they had created for Kethvar. These were not natural animals. They were weapons made in laboratories. They were designed to be the perfect killers, smart enough to hunt and strong enough to destroy anything they found. The creature did not attack right away. Instead, it studied Marcus like a scientist studying a bug. It tilted its massive head and watched him with those 6 glowing eyes. Marcus could feel something touching his mind, like invisible fingers trying to read his thoughts. "Well," Marcus said out loud, trying to keep his voice steady, "this is either going to go really well or really badly." The creature made a sound that was part roar and part electronic noise. Marcus's translator tried to understand what it was saying, but the words came out broken and strange. The creature was trying to communicate, but it had been alone for so long that it had almost forgotten how to talk. For 3 hours, Marcus and the creature stared at each other. Marcus did not run because he knew the creature could catch him easily. The creature did not attack because something about the human was different from anything it had seen before. Most creatures that came to Kethavar were scared and tried to hide. This human was scared too, but he was not hiding. He was standing his ground and trying to talk. Finally, the creature moved. But instead of attacking, it walked over to Marcus's shelter and began looking at it. The creature examined the way Marcus had built his camp, how he had used the natural materials of Kethavar to create something safe and comfortable. "You like my engineering?" Marcus asked, surprised that he was talking to a creature that could kill him with one swipe of its claws. "Yeah, I can tell you're smart. The council mentioned that you were made in a lab. Military grade, right?" The creature's head snapped toward Marcus when he said the word council. Its 6 eyes focused on him with laser intensity. Then it made another sound, longer and sadder than before. Marcus's translator worked harder this time and gave him a better understanding. Makers. Abandoned. Alone. So long, forgotten. The truth hit Marcus like a punch to the stomach. The aliens had not just put these creatures on Kethavar to guard the planet. They had abandoned them here. These intelligent, powerful beings had been left alone on this deadly world for who knows how long. They were not guards. They were prisoners. "They left you here," Marcus said softly. "The ones who made you. How long have you been alone?" The creature's response was a gesture toward the dead landscape around them, and a sound so full of sadness that it made Marcus's heart hurt. The translator said, "Many cycles. Many years, alone, waiting, always waiting." Marcus felt anger growing in his chest. Not anger at the creature, but anger at the aliens who had done this. They had created intelligent beings and then thrown them away like broken tools. It was cruel beyond words. "I'm Marcus," he said, pointing to himself. Then, doing something that his survival training said was completely crazy, he held out his hand toward the creature. The creature looked at the offered hand for a long time. Marcus could see it thinking, trying to decide if this human was a threat or something else. Finally, the massive head lowered until Marcus could touch the metal and flesh that made up its face. The moment their skin touched, Marcus felt a connection he had never experienced before. It was not just physical contact. It was like their minds touched for just a moment, and Marcus could feel the creature's loneliness and pain, but he could also feel its intelligence and its desperate hunger for companionship. That night, the creature led Marcus to a hidden entrance in the ground. Underground, there were rooms and tunnels that the aliens had built when they first created Kethavar. The creature had been living in these tunnels for years, maintaining the old machines and keeping the facility running even though its creators had forgotten about it. Marcus set up his new camp in one of the underground rooms. It was much safer than the cave, and the creature seemed happy to have company. As Marcus organized his supplies, he watched the creature work with the old alien technology. Its movements were precise and careful, like an engineer who truly understood what he was doing. "You know," Marcus said as he prepared his dinner, "where I come from, we have a saying. Every creature is just a friend you haven't met yet." The creature's electromagnetic field pulsed in a way that Marcus was beginning to recognize as laughter or amusement. For the first time since arriving on Kethavar, Marcus felt something he had not expected to feel: hope. Marcus had been living underground with the creature for 3 days now. He had started calling it Onyx because of its beautiful black armor that shined like polished stone. The name seemed to make the creature happy. Its electromagnetic field would pulse with warm colors whenever Marcus said it. The underground facility was amazing. The aliens who built it had created rooms for research, storage areas for equipment, and even places for the creatures to rest. But everything had been abandoned for so long that dust covered most surfaces. Onyx had been taking care of the facility alone, keeping the important machines working even though no one was coming back. Marcus learned that Onyx was not just a weapon. The creature was an artist, an engineer, and a philosopher. In one room, Marcus found incredible sculptures that Onyx had made from scrap metal. In another room, there were complex mathematical equations written on the walls in a language that mixed alien symbols with electromagnetic patterns. "You've been studying," Marcus said as he looked at the equations, "learning new things even though you're alone." Onyx's response came through gestures and electromagnetic pulses that Marcus was getting better at understanding. The creature had been trying to understand the purpose of its existence. It knew it was created to be a weapon, but it wanted to be something more. It had been teaching itself art, science, and philosophy to become a complete being. Marcus was fascinated by Onyx's intelligence. During their conversations, which were becoming easier as they learned to communicate better, Marcus discovered that Onyx had theories about the universe that were completely new. The creature had spent years thinking about questions that philosophers on Earth had struggled with for centuries. "On my world," Marcus told Onyx as they shared a meal, "we believe that intelligence should be used to create and protect, not just to destroy. You figured that out on your own." Onyx's electromagnetic field pulsed with what Marcus now recognized as pride. The creature had never received praise for its intellectual achievements before. Its creators had only cared about its ability to fight and kill. On the fourth day underground, Marcus made an important discovery. While exploring the facility, he found a room full of communication equipment. Most of it was broken, but some pieces still worked. With Onyx's help, Marcus was able to fix one of the long-range transmitters. "This could contact the council," Marcus said excitedly. "We could call for help or at least let them know I'm alive." But Onyx's response surprised him. The creature did not want to contact the council. Through a series of electromagnetic pulses and gestures, Onyx explained that the council had betrayed all the creatures on Kethvar. They had promised that the creatures would have purpose and companionship, but instead they had been abandoned and forgotten. "You don't trust them," Marcus said, understanding. "Can't say I blame you. They sent me here to die too." Onyx communicated something that the translator struggled with. Trust, Marcus, only Marcus, others, fear, anger, abandonment. Marcus felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with the heated air in the facility. This incredible being, this perfect fusion of organic intelligence and mechanical precision, trusted him completely. It was both an honor and a responsibility that Marcus did not take lightly. As they worked together to repair more of the facility's equipment, Marcus learned about Onyx's capabilities. The creature was not just strong and dangerous. Onyx could interface directly with alien technology, using its biomechanical tendrils to control complex systems. It could analyze materials at the molecular level, predict weather patterns days in advance, and solve engineering problems that would take human teams months to figure out. "You're not a weapon," Marcus told Onyx as they watched the creature effortlessly repair a broken power generator. "You're a miracle of engineering and evolution. The council doesn't understand what they created." Onyx's electromagnetic field flickered with confusion. Created, weapon, purpose, killing, confusion. "What am I?" "You're my friend," Marcus said simply. "And you're whatever you choose to be." This concept seemed to shake Onyx to its core. The creature had never been told that it could choose its own purpose. For hours, Onyx stood motionless, its electromagnetic field cycling through patterns that Marcus had never seen before. The creature was processing the idea that it had free will. When Onyx finally moved again, something had changed. Its posture was different, more confident. Its electromagnetic field had settled into a new pattern that felt calm and determined. Through their growing communication system, Onyx told Marcus that it had made a decision. Choose friend, choose protector, choose learning, choose Marcus. From that moment, their relationship changed from survival partnership to genuine friendship. Onyx began teaching Marcus about the advanced technology in the facility. Marcus shared stories about Earth, about human culture, about the idea that differences between species could be strengths rather than weaknesses. They developed routines together. Each morning, they would check the facility systems and make any necessary repairs. Each afternoon, they would explore new areas of the underground complex or work on understanding each other's languages better. Each evening, they would share their thoughts about what they had learned that day. Marcus discovered that Onyx had a sense of humor. The creature enjoyed the stories Marcus told about human mistakes and adventures. When Marcus told Onyx about the time he had tried to make friends with a grizzly bear on Earth, Onyx's electromagnetic field pulsed with what could only be described as laughter. "Yeah, that didn't go well," Marcus admitted. "But this time, I think I'm doing better." Onyx responded with a complex pattern that the translator interpreted as agreement and affection. The creature was happy for the first time in years, maybe for the first time since its creation. On the 10th day underground, Marcus was working on his equipment when he noticed something disturbing. His food supplies were running low faster than they should have been. He had been sharing his meals with Onyx, but the creature had said it could survive on the energy from the facility's power systems. "Onyx," Marcus said carefully, "have you been eating my food?" The creature's electromagnetic field shifted to patterns that Marcus recognized as embarrassment. Through hesitant communication, Onyx explained that it could survive on electrical energy, but food made it feel more alive, more real. Sharing meals with Marcus was the first time Onyx had experienced something like family. Marcus felt his throat tighten with emotion. "You should have told me. We can figure out how to get more food. We're partners now. Partners share everything." Onyx's response was a warm pulse of gratitude and something that felt like love. Not romantic love, but the deep affection between true friends who would do anything for each other. As they worked together to solve the food problem, using the facility systems to analyze local materials and create nutritional supplements, Marcus realized something important. He was not just surviving on Kethvar anymore. He was thriving. And when the 30 days were up and the council came to collect his body, they were going to get the surprise of their lives. "Hey, Onyx," Marcus said as they finished their latest project. "How would you like to see the galaxy? I think it's time the council met my new best friend." Onyx's electromagnetic field exploded in patterns of excitement and determination. The creature was ready to face the beings who had abandoned it. But this time it would not be alone. On the 29th day, Marcus stood at the edge of Kethvar's main landing platform with Onyx beside him. The platform was built into the side of a mountain, and was the only safe place for large ships to land on the deadly planet. Through the storm clouds above, Marcus could see the lights of a council transport ship coming down toward them. The past 3 weeks had been amazing for both of them. Marcus had learned more about alien technology than any human in history. Onyx had learned about friendship, humor, and the idea that life could have meaning beyond just following orders. Together, they had repaired much of the underground facility and discovered incredible inventions that the council had forgotten about. Most importantly, they had become true friends. Marcus trusted Onyx completely, and Onyx would do anything to protect Marcus. They had developed their own way of talking that mixed human words, electromagnetic signals, and gestures that only they understood. "You ready for this?" Marcus asked as the council ship got closer. The wind from the landing thrusters blew dust and debris around the platform. Onyx's electromagnetic field pulsed with determination. "Ready. Friend Marcus, time truth, time justice." The transport ship was huge and intimidating. It looked like a flying fortress made of black metal and glowing energy shields. When it landed, the platform shook under its weight. Steam hissed from its engines as they cooled down. Marcus checked his recording equipment one more time. He had documented everything that had happened on Kethvar. The council needed to know the truth about what they had done to the creatures they had created. More importantly, the galaxy needed to know that these creatures were not weapons to be feared, but intelligent beings who deserved respect and freedom. The ship's loading ramp opened with a loud mechanical sound. Council Prime Thexalar walked out first, followed by 6 armed guards. The giant insect alien looked exactly the same as when Marcus had last seen him, but now Marcus was not intimidated. He had survived things that Thexalar could not even imagine. Behind Thexalar came the energy alien from the Ethereal Collective and several other council members. They all stopped short when they saw Onyx standing next to Marcus. Even through their translator systems, Marcus could hear their shock and fear. "Impossible," Thexalar buzzed. his compound eyes reflecting Marcus and Onyx hundreds of times. "The bioweapon should have eliminated you within hours. How are you still alive?" Marcus smiled and put his hand on Onyx's armored shoulder in a gesture that was becoming natural for both of them. "Bioweapon? This is Onyx, my friend and partner. And before you start making threats, you should know that Onyx has agreed to come with me as humanity's first cultural exchange ambassador." The guards immediately raised their weapons, but their reaction was slow compared to Onyx's response. Biomechanical tendrils extended from Onyx's back in a perfect defensive pattern. Electromagnetic pulses danced around Onyx's head like a crown of lightning. Every weapon system that the creature possessed was activated and ready, but held perfectly under control. The message was clear to everyone on the platform. Onyx could destroy all of them in seconds, but would only do so if they threatened Marcus. The guards' weapons suddenly seemed very small and inadequate. "Stand down," Thexalar ordered his guards, though his voice shook slightly. The agreement was that the human had to survive 30 days on Kethvar. Nothing was said about companionship with Council bioweapons. "Actually," Marcus said cheerfully, "if you read the exact words of our agreement, you'll find that I only had to return alive. You didn't specify that I had to return alone. Besides, Onyx here is technically a refugee seeking asylum from an abandoned military installation. Denying asylum to a refugee would violate about 6 different interstellar laws." The energy alien flickered brighter as it became agitated. The bioconstruct was designed as a weapon for planetary defense. Its psychological profile indicates extreme aggression and territorial behavior. It cannot be trusted. Onyx's response came through the translation system, and Marcus was proud to hear that his friend's communication had become much clearer. Former designation, Military Asset 77 Alpha. Current designation, Onyx, friend and partner of Marcus Chen, student of art and philosophy. Psychological profile has been updated through human interaction and education. Previous aggression was response to isolation and lack of purpose. Current mental state, curious about galactic society and eager to learn. The council members looked at each other in confusion. They had expected to find Marcus's body and a rampaging monster. Instead, they found a human who looked healthier than when he had left, and a creature that spoke with intelligence and dignity. Thexalar stepped closer, his guards staying several feet behind. "What exactly happened down there, human?" "What happened?" Marcus said, his voice becoming serious, "is that I learned the truth about what you did to these creatures. You didn't just abandon military equipment on Kethvar, you abandoned intelligent thinking, feeling beings. Beings who have spent years alone, maintaining your facilities and hoping that someone would remember them." Marcus activated his recording equipment and projected holographic images of the underground facility. The council members watched in shock as they saw the art that Onyx had created, the mathematical equations on the walls, and the careful maintenance of complex systems. "Onyx has been alone for over 40 years, Marcus continued. 40 years of isolation on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. And instead of going insane or reverting to pure aggression, Onyx taught itself art, science, and philosophy. This creature is not a weapon. It's a person." The aquatic alien with the breathing mask spoke next, her voice filled with wonder. "The bioconstruct. It created art, it studied mathematics. We never programmed those capabilities." Onyx's electromagnetic field pulsed with what Marcus recognized as pride. "Programming provides foundation. Learning and growth provide meaning. Art provides joy. Mathematics provides understanding. Friendship provides purpose." "And that's not all," Marcus said, pulling out a data pad with information he and Onyx had compiled. "Onyx has informed me that there are 16 other installations on different death worlds throughout Council space. 16 other facilities where intelligent creatures like Onyx are waiting alone, hoping someone will remember they exist." The council members began talking among themselves in their various languages. Marcus could see the fear in their body language, but also something else. Guilt. They were beginning to understand the magnitude of what they had done. Thexalar turned back to Marcus, his voice quieter than before. "And what exactly are you proposing, human?" "First," Marcus said, "I'm proposing that the council honor our agreement. I survived 30 days on Kethvar, so humanity gets full membership in the Galactic Council. Second, I'm proposing that we establish a rescue mission to find and help the other abandoned creatures. And third, I'm proposing that Onyx be recognized as a full citizen of the galaxy with all the rights that come with that status. And if we refuse? The energy alien asked. Onyx's response was immediate and clear. Refusal would indicate that Council values weapons over people. Onyx would be disappointed but not surprised. However, Onyx and friend Marcus would continue working to help abandoned ones regardless of Council approval. Some purposes are more important than politics. The Council members continued their discussion for several minutes. Finally, Thexaler stepped forward again. The Council will consider your proposals. But first, you and your companion must return with us for proper evaluation and discussion. Agreed, Marcus said, but Onyx travels as my equal, not as a prisoner or a specimen to be studied. As they walked toward the transport ship, Marcus could see the Council members stealing glances at Onyx. Their fear was slowly being replaced by curiosity. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something better for everyone. Onyx's electromagnetic field pulsed with anticipation. Adventure with friend Marcus. New worlds. New people. New possibilities. Marcus grinned as they boarded the ship that would take them back to Council space. Hey, Onyx, ready to show the galaxy what real friendship looks like? The biomechanical giant's response resonated through the ship's hull like distant thunder. Always ready when with friend Marcus. The Galactic Council chambers had never seen anything like what was happening today. Marcus Chen sat in humanity's new seat at the great circular table, looking completely comfortable despite the tension in the air. Next to him, Onyx stood like a living shadow, 12 feet of biomechanical perfection that made every other delegate nervous. It had been 1 week since Marcus and Onyx had returned from Kethvar. During that time, Council scientists had tried to study Onyx, but the creature had politely refused most of their tests. Onyx was not a specimen to be examined. Onyx was a citizen with rights, and Marcus had made sure everyone understood that. The Council session was being broadcast across the galaxy. Billions of beings were watching to see what would happen when a human and a former weapon addressed the most powerful government in known space. Some species were excited to see if humans really were as unusual as the stories said. Others were terrified that the Council was making a terrible mistake. The chair recognizes the human delegation, Thexaler announced, his buzzing voice echoing through the chamber. His tone was more respectful than it had been a month ago. Nearly dying on Kethvar had given Marcus a reputation that even the Council Prime had to acknowledge. Marcus stood up and activated a holographic display. Images of the underground facility on Kethvar appeared in the air above the table. Thank you, Council Prime. Before we discuss Onyx's citizenship status, I want to present our first proposal as full Council members. The hologram showed the amazing technology that Onyx had maintained for decades, weapons that could defend entire star systems, terraforming tools that could turn dead worlds into garden planets, medical equipment that could cure diseases that the Council had never been able to solve. Onyx has provided complete technical specifications for 17 different abandoned installations. Marcus continued. These facilities contain technology that could revolutionize defense, medicine, terraforming, and space exploration. Humanity proposes a joint research initiative, with Onyx serving as the primary technical advisor. The chamber fell silent. The value of this technology was beyond calculation. It could change the balance of power in the galaxy. But getting access to it meant working with a being that many Council members still thought of as a dangerous weapon. Councillor Vexhai of the Titanoid Collective spoke first. Her stone features ground together as she formed words. The bioconstruct was designed for warfare. How can we be certain that its psychological conditioning has truly changed? What prevents it from reverting to its original programming? Onyx's response came through the translation system, perfectly calm and logical. Councillor Vexhai raises reasonable concern. Original programming emphasized survival, threat elimination, and awaiting orders from absent creators. However, programming is not destiny. Through education and friendship, new priorities have developed. Current primary directives: protect friend Marcus, explore concepts of art and philosophy, assist other abandoned beings, contribute to galactic peace. The Zephyrian delegate's crystalline form chimed with skepticism. Humans have documented history of domesticating dangerous species. This appears to be an extreme example of that behavioral pattern. Marcus almost laughed at the suggestion. Domestication implies one being controlling another. Onyx isn't my pet or my possession. Onyx is my partner and friend. There's a big difference, and it's one you might want to learn. And what? Thexelar asked, his compound eyes focusing on Onyx. Prevents this partnership from dissolving if your interests conflict with the creature's original nature? Onyx answered before Marcus could speak. Question assumes that original nature was purely destructive. This assumption is incorrect. Analysis of creation process shows that designers included capacity for learning, adaptation, and emotional growth. These capabilities were considered necessary for long-term mission effectiveness. Friendship with Marcus has activated these dormant systems. Query: why would growth toward positive emotions be considered temporary or false? The aquatic delegate from the Oceanic Alliance spoke through her breathing apparatus. You mentioned other abandoned installations. Are there more creatures like yourself? Affirmative, Onyx replied, and Marcus could feel the creature's excitement through their bond. 17 confirmed military installations across Council space. Conservative estimates suggest 43 functional biomechanical entities remain in isolation. Recommendation: immediate rescue and rehabilitation operations for all abandoned personnel. This statement caused an uproar in the chamber. Several delegates began talking at once, some in fear and others in excitement. The idea of 43 more creatures like Onyx loose in the galaxy terrified some species, while others saw the potential benefits of having such powerful allies. Marcus waited for the noise to die down before speaking again. That brings me to humanity's second proposal. We want to establish the Galactic Rescue Initiative. The purpose would be to locate and assist any intelligent beings who have been abandoned or forgotten by their creators or governments. The energy alien from the ethereal collective flickered brighter. This proposal could destabilize the entire galactic balance of power. These bioconstructs were designed as military assets. Releasing them could lead to unprecedented warfare. Or unprecedented peace, Marcus countered. Onyx has shown that when treated with respect and given purpose, these beings choose cooperation over conflict. The only reason they might become dangerous is if they're treated as weapons instead of people. Onyx's electromagnetic field pulsed with agreement. Friend Marcus speaks truth. Abandoned beings experience isolation, confusion, anger. These emotions can lead to destructive behavior. However, rescue and friendship can transform negative emotions into positive contributions. Onyx is proof of this transformation. Counselor Thexelar leaned forward in his seat. And what guarantee do we have that other bioconstructs will respond to human friendship the way you have? No guarantee, Marcus admitted honestly. But what's the alternative? Leave them alone until they die or go insane? Some of these beings have been isolated for over a century. They deserve better than abandonment. The debate continued for hours. Some council members supported the rescue initiative, seeing it as a way to gain access to incredible technology and potentially powerful allies. Others opposed it, fearing that releasing so many engineered creatures could lead to chaos. Finally, the vote was called. The rescue initiative passed by a narrow margin, but it passed. Marcus felt a surge of pride and relief, not just for the abandoned creatures who would be saved, but for what this vote represented. The galaxy was choosing hope over fear. As the session continued, Marcus noticed something interesting happening. Several delegates had begun directing questions specifically to Onyx, asking for the creature's opinions on various galactic issues. Onyx's responses were thoughtful, logical, and often surprisingly insightful. When asked about trade disputes, Onyx suggested solutions based on game theory and psychological analysis. When asked about environmental protection, Onyx provided detailed plans for ecosystem restoration that took into account the needs of all species involved. When asked about defense against external threats, Onyx proposed strategies that emphasized protection over aggression. By the end of the session, even the most skeptical council members had to admit that Onyx was not just intelligent, but wise. The creature's decades of isolation had been spent not just maintaining machines, but thinking deeply about the problems facing galactic civilization. As the delegates began to leave, Thexelar approached Marcus and Onyx. "Human Marcus Chen," he said, his voice carrying a note of respect that had not been there before. "I owe you an apology. When we sent you to Kethvar, we expected you to die. Instead, you have given us something we never expected to find. What's that? Marcus asked. Hope, Thexelar replied. Hope that intelligence and compassion can triumph over fear and prejudice. Your friendship with Onyx has shown us that understanding can replace conflict, even between species that seem completely different. Onyx's electromagnetic field pulsed with warmth. Council Prime. Thexelar shows wisdom in recognizing potential for growth. All beings capable of learning, changing, becoming better than original design intended. As they left the council chambers, Marcus reflected on how much had changed in just 1 month. He had gone from being humanity's representative facing a death sentence to being part of a partnership that might reshape galactic civilization. So, Marcus said to Onyx as they walked through the station's corridors, ready to go rescue some more friends? Onyx's response resonated through the metal walls like distant music. Adventure with friend Marcus always brings joy and purpose. Together we will ensure no intelligent being faces abandonment again. Other species in the corridor stopped to stare as the human and the biomechanical giant walked past, talking and laughing like old friends. Some stared in fear, others in wonder, but all of them were witnessing something new in galactic history. The age of cooperation between humans and their unlikely allies had begun. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy was about to discover what it truly meant to leave no one behind. Marcus grinned as they headed toward their ship,